we'll kick it off with conversation with Carrie.
All right, thank you very much. So your character coming into this show has maybe abilities or not, we'll be seeing that. But if you could pick a cursed ability fighting style, what would you pick and why?
For me, for both of us?
Yes, this is for both of you, and you could make it up or you
Fantastic.
could pick one that already exists.
I mean, personally, I really like Gojo's cursed ability and how it, and sort of his armor being like, his armor is the mathematical concept of ever approaching zero. It's like you can't ever get close enough. I would love to twist that into like a literal space bend sort of attack ability. That would be really cool for a character.
Yeah, I love the idea of you know, cursed words and everything. And I guess it's because, my first love was writing, so, I do recognize the power of like words. So, the whole idea of like, okay, I'm gonna be quiet or talk in like these specific, ingredients or whatever. But then when I do properly talk, I will, change the world, I will mess the environment around me. I think that's like super cool.
Nice, thank you.
And then we'll go to the digital fix, Anthony.
Oh, Anthony, the digital fix. Just a question for you both. There's quite a big revelation regarding your characters towards the end of the movie. No spoilers, obviously. But I'm just wondering, like, did you expect it or see it coming at all when you were working through it?
I had done my research, but I had not come across that fact. And I thought it was very, very interesting when we got there. And I won't share any details, obviously, of what it is, but I was surprised and enjoyed the chance to act out his feelings during those revelations.
I think it was a very interesting revelation that, kind of turned the whole idea um, of what it was on its head. Like you think you know where it's going, but then turns out, no, this is actually what it is. Um, and I liked the psychological implications of that. I liked the emotional implications of that. And I really liked how it all wrapped up in the end, to speak so vaguely.
Thank you.
hmm
And then Otakus and Geeks, Nadia.
Hi guys, Nadia at Otakus and Geeks. My question is for Anairis, Rika. How did you prepare to play a special grade cursed apparition? And can you tell us about how you handled switching into human form?
Ah, man. It was really cool because, I have seen a little bit of JUJUTSU Kaisen, so I knew who the King of Curses was, but to learn about the Queen of Curses was very interesting. And, I knew this was a character that had duality, and it was, interesting figuring out, okay, who was she as a human? Who was she before, she became cursed? And I feel like that form of her is a bit more mysterious because we spend so much more time with cursed Rika. Um, but it's just kind of like filling in the blanks, and I do take her to be a character that has gone through trauma, unspoken trauma, but chooses to love and be happy as much as she can. Um, and in a sense, is kind of mature. I mean, she's talking about marriage, like, very enthusiastically at such a young age. And she's not bringing out a ring pop, so it's like, this is a very interesting character for sure. And then when you come to her cursed form, that is, I think it's such a stark contrast to who she was as a human, because as a human she seems a bit more mature, but as a curse, she's just so much immature, like so much explosive, childish energy. Um, and it was really fun playing with that duality and trying to make sure, that cursed Rika was immature, but still reminiscent of human Rika, but then when it came to human Rika, making sure that she wasn't all that childish either and just balancing each other out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Big Gold Belt.
Hi, Nigeria Chambers of Big Gold Belt Media. This is easily YouTube's best performances to date. There's just so much emotion, even thinking about some of the scenes, especially some of the scenes that you two share. I was wondering, not only in terms of prep, but what are you tapping into to really pour that emotion to radiate even more than the animation itself in this film?
I know for myself, when there were emotional scenes, I specifically asked the director, give me a moment and some space during these times of performance. And I pulled from my own experiences of loss and of grief and of guilt, like self-guilt about those traumas. And while I was having a ton of fun, it was also, a little bit cathartic to explore those depths in acting this character and seeing how my experiences could translate to his own and really come through in the performance. I really wanted people to hear something authentic. And so I took the time to make sure that I brought that out of myself.
Yeah, likewise. I didn't really try to make Rika sound like, oh, anime little girl. Like, I tried to make her sound like a genuine little girl so that you can empathize with where, her development goes in the story. And then, bringing up the more, I guess, childish, almost cartoony sound like in Cursed Rika, but still trying to ground that where I could. And, I think Rika's like a bit more of a mysterious character. I don't have as much to play with as Kayleigh does with Yuta, but, it's just kind of filling in the blanks and like, okay, right here in the scene, she is being a pure romantic, and it's just kind of being like, oh, what is it like to love someone, to genuinely love someone so much that you want to marry them, and, just kind of drawing into those pure emotions and, and making it seem as real as it is in my head, and in those moments where she is cursed, even though I have to ham it up maybe a little tiny bit, I still want to find parts where it's grounded, and I still want to find, okay, what exactly is she thinking for her to say this? So, just being an actor, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we have time for a couple more, so conversation.
All right. So as you were saying, your characters just have these heightened emotions. They go through so many different levels of, real highs, real lows. How do you, wash that off yourself when you leave the booth and not take that energy with you?
A big part of it is having a space in the booth that I feel comfortable and welcomed and welcomed not only just in the space, but in the energy to play around and to experience all of those different levels. And then, the director was super respectful of when I needed those moments. But then, after we were done with them and we get back to, where Yuta's like having a jokey scene with some friends, we could easily move back into joking around ourselves and get myself out of that place and into the new place really easily, because it felt like a natural and fun like day of work, and that was, I was very, very, very grateful for that. And I think it helped my performance a lot to have a space like that where we could have that energy and that dynamic, because then when I leave, none of the negative energy of portraying the scene followed me there, because we were able to, you know, play around and have our own fun.
Yeah, I only had, the one session for Rika, a single, like, I think it was like 2 hours or something. And it was my first time working with the English dub director, Susie, and, we kind of like quickly made a rapport with each other. She was very good at making me comfortable. And I think at first when, I started voicing Rika, we were starting with, her human form, and it was just kind of trying to figure that out and, perform authentically, comfortably in that space. And as the session progressed and as we became more comfortable with, the space, the director, and also the character, it was like, okay, cool, I get the gist. Can we go back now? And, that's something I definitely tried to do as much as possible. I was like, okay, I know what I want to do. I'm more comfortable now. I think I can do it now. So let's go back, because I want to make sure that this is, very, just very real. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Anthony at Digital Fix. I think this is the last question.
Cool, yeah. And obviously this movie is a prequel to the main series, and I'm just wondering for the two of you, how deep you went into the kind of lore of Jujutsu Kaisen before kind of settling down to give us the movie.
I had seen season 1 subbed and some of it dubbed. And I also had done some research for the role. Excuse me. I have not read all the way through the manga. But I did look into a little bit of it. It was striking this balance of me of, getting too deep in the paint of the character and like spinning my head in circles, because I didn't want to second guess myself too much, but getting a full breadth sort of knowledge of who Yuta was and how I wanted to portray him, as well as considering the energy of the series as a whole.
Yeah, and it's similar for me. Actually, for me, I maybe watched like a few episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen, and the most that I knew about it was from friends kind of talking about it, and they would talk about the manga, they would talk about the anime. So I kind of understood the gist of it, but, when I was cast as Rika, I was like, okay, I know there's this prequel story, let me make sure that I know this story and learn what I can about Rika, especially because I think, she's kind of mysterious in her own way. And it's just figuring out, okay, this is her, this is Yuta, this is their relationship. And then, by the time that we went to the booth, it's like, okay, that's the manga, that is what Gigi did, so what did the anime do? And it was just kind of, putting the pieces together as we went through.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I think that's all for our time.